the main thing everyone's interested in, and it's been dragging on for a bit too long now, is the takeover. Is it takeover? Is it investment? I think even the manager in some of his interviews or comments, he's talks about takeover or investment. What's it going to look like? We don't know time frame, and I just worry that Mark's not going to give us enough because he's going to be able to hide behind NDAs, and he's not going to be able to name certain things. But it's going to be all about that. I think most people accept now that Mark is not the man who's going to be able to spearhead us forward. I think he came into this with genuine intentions, with Nicola, with genuine intentions, and they wanted to have this big plan to be self-sustainable. But the landscape has changed, and a takeover, if we are going to survive, not just move forward up the league, if we're going to survive, because if you're treading water in this division, you're actually going backwards. So it's all about takeover. Where are we at with that? Is there anything more that he can tell us? I think the other issue, as well as this loan that Smith has been involved with, I think a lot of people are going to be concerned. I know Mr. Ritchie's got a lot to say about Smithwaite because he's got knowledge of what happened at Port Vale. I would be interested to know what involvements he's had, and is that anything to do with takeover? Where do these dots connect? Obviously, everyone's unhappy because what's happening on the pitch isn't going well. That's, we need results to get better. So I'm sure there'll be questions about Nigel, about his tenure. Is his position sustainable now? So there'll be questions on that. But I think takeover is going to be the main focus. And if people don't get the information they want, then we're not going to be happy. And they've called this Q&A. So I'm hoping there's more info to give us than just there's NDAs. We'll give you more info when we've got it. But it's going to be an interesting one, and there's so many things to ask questions about that I don't think they need to waste time talking about cowshed catering, the pre-match playlist, or anything ridiculous like that.
Yeah, the nature of them calling this, you'd like to think as supporters that they're going to have something meaningful to disclose, i.e., when they plan, when they believe the takeover is actually going to be completed. Is it delayed? Is it falling through? At this moment in time, there's lots of rumours and no one's the wiser. So hopefully by the nature that they've called this, it will give the supporters something meaningful and not just sound bites and spin, which in fairness, a lot of them have been in the past. There's some very, very pressing things that I'd like to hear answered. And Mr. Smurthwaite's involvement, that came out the blue. The first I heard of it was in the fan park prior to a game. I think it was back in November, maybe before the Newport game. Might be wrong on that. So what I'd like Mark to do is to explain the nature of Norman Smurthwaite's arrival into the fold, and as well shed some sort of light on what happens if this takeover is delayed. Because right now, Tranmere are sleepwalking towards relegation, and the thought of being back in non-league for a second time in 10 years, it just doesn't bear thinking about. And Mark and Nicola are not going to want that on their sort of legacy. I don't think the first relegation really could have been pinned on them too much. They weren't long through the door, but this one firmly will be. So, I'm waiting with some level of anticipation, and it's disappointing to see such a sort of toxic reaction on the socials to the announcement of this Q&A. Listen, they've made mistakes. I appreciate that, but some of the reaction I thought was a bit over the top, and out abuse is not the way to go. But that's just my take on it. I think they deserve a little bit more respect, but hopefully it sheds more light on what's going on in the short term, and indeed whether or not this takeover is going to be concluded before the January transfer window, which I think is going to be key to Tranmere's survival hopes.